For many aspiring creators, there's so many things that can hold you back from starting a YouTube channel. But one thing in particular that I hear from many creators is that they struggle with speaking on camera. And it's totally easy to understand why. If you're not used to speaking on camera, it can be a very intimidating and uncomfortable thing to do. But in today's video, I want to go through some of my own personal experience with this and provide some tips on what I feel has helped me over the years with speaking on camera. After now having 3 YouTube channels in total that I run, I definitely have had my fair share of speaking on camera and even in person at events and things like that through my freelance business. So in this video, I really wanted to provide some tips to help you get started. But if you're new to this channel, my name is Kaylee and I'm a beauty and fashion photographer based near Sydney, Australia. But I'm also a content creator and I started this channel a few years ago to talk about all things business, social media, content creation, and freelancing. And as I mentioned, in this video, we'll be talking about some tips for getting started with speaking on camera. So one thing that I really wanted to preface this video with is that it does get easier over time. And I promise you, if you are struggling with it in the beginning, it is completely normal. And speaking on camera, I feel for most people does not come naturally. And I'll also say this in respect that if you're an introvert, it especially might not come naturally to you, like it wasn't for me. When I first started YouTube and in the years beforehand, I was an incredibly shy person. And I still feel that even to this day, with my introvert self, I do feel at times that it is hard to not feel shy or to feel like I don't want to just crawl up in my own little bubble. However, I do feel like I'm a lot less shy these days, and I attribute this to actually speaking on camera for so long and over the years. I feel like this has really helped me come out of my shell even more. It's something that you don't even realize, but speaking on camera for a really extended period of time, like over the years for YouTube or in person on camera or in front of people, it really builds your confidence in ways that I don't even completely understand. But some of the ways that I do know it helps is that it really gets you not tripping over your words as much. The more you do this, the more you are forced to speak off the top of your head as well, without papers in front of you, without reading off something. It really does help you build that confidence even in social settings or when you do have to be speaking at events or on camera somewhere else. It really does help you build that confidence within yourself and when you are speaking to other people even. One thing I used to be really scared of when I was a lot younger and before I started my YouTube channels was that I would trip over my words constantly. And I always really found it hard in social situations to kind of recover from that and just not be embarrassed by it or to be able to speak off the top of my head, or even things like keeping eye contact. All of the rest of that I felt really didn't come naturally to me. But after many years now of speaking on camera and doing this so regularly, it has helped immensely. So back to the point that I was mentioning at the beginning, this sort of thing gets better and easier over time. Don't put too much pressure on yourself immediately to nail it and to really feel like you're coming across as the most confident person ever on screen, because it does take time. But I did want to preface the video by saying that because I feel like it's something that's totally worthwhile if you can push through that initial fear and intimidation of doing it. It's something that can be a really massive positive. So now, after elaborating on that a little bit more, I really want to get straight into these tips. So the first tip I have is to start filming yourself regularly if you're feeling uncomfortable. However, the thing that I really want to stress with this point is you should film with the intention of the footage not going anywhere. How I like to describe this is by calling it sandboxing. This is actually a conversation that my brother and I have had many times before. He's actually like an illustrator and he does animation. He's very much got several creative hats, and we've definitely talked about this a lot, where we feel that sandboxing and just kind of doing things for your own enjoyment or doing things for your own personal growth without necessarily having to show anyone else or post it anywhere is really essential for every creative's career path. It can really help you as well if you are uncomfortable or intimidated by something in particular and you don't feel ready to post things or you don't feel ready to get out there just yet. Sandboxing and actually just kind of filming yourself regularly in a setting, whether it be your bedroom or your house, somewhere else, wherever you feel most comfortable, and actually just practicing in front of the camera, reading about anything, speaking about anything. It's really important that you do this. If you're just feeling like you're not comfortable enough to start posting things online immediately, that is totally fine and totally normal. And I think it'll just give you that nice practice run that you need to really start speaking on camera without the pressure of feeling the need to show anyone as well. That way you're not going to be thinking the whole time you're filming, I need this to be perfect, it's going to be going online, I need to say every word perfectly, I need to say things in a specific way, and you'll be really hard on yourself if that's the case, most likely. So just having that time to spend practicing is really going to be the best bet. Now, the next tip is to continue testing yourself with different topics so that that you can start to speak without looking at a piece of paper. This was something I did struggle with initially, and something I struggled with even during school when I had to do speeches. I would have my piece of paper in front of me and I didn't want to look away from it, and I was too scared that I would trip over my words. I was too scared I wouldn't remember what I was actually supposed to be saying. So I felt that there was a lot of fear around that. And if you're having the same kind of fear where you just feel like you can't remember what the topic's about, or you go blank as soon as you look up, this is something that can really get you in the habit of looking and appearing more natural on camera, because realistically, not reading off a piece of paper will make you appear more natural on camera. So it is something to focus on, and it's probably something that maybe people don't realize initially, but it can make a huge difference in your YouTube videos and how your confidence comes through the screen as well. Definitely get into the habit of practicing not reading off a piece of paper and to think of topics off the top of your head. So for me, with my YouTube videos even, I have dot points, and I actually have a notebook that's like right underneath here, but you'll see that I'm not reading off that notebook. I have my dot points. I will glance down in between each point just to remember what the actual point is, and then I will start to speak about it. But I actually don't have a huge outline even for this video, so it's really all coming off the top of my head. And that is something, again, that will come with time, and you'll get more and more used to doing this, and you won't feel the need to write everything down or as much down when you are filming videos. So along with this tip, my next point is actually heads up, eyes up. I think both of these things are really undervalued initially when you're starting YouTube, when you're starting to speak on camera. And something to always remember is to have your head up and then also your eyes up, looking into the camera lens and making sure you're doing that. Because one thing that I learned when I was really young, and it actually always stuck with me, was when I was doing speeches in school, they always told us that eye contact was really the most powerful thing. Eye contact was one of the most important things. And if it feels a little bit uncomfortable to look straight down the lens, you can kind of look slightly off to the side. And this really goes for if you're speaking in a room full of people too. You can kind of look at the back wall as if you're looking above everyone's heads, more so than to people directly if you feel a little bit uncomfortable doing that. But some sort of eye contact and making sure your head is up, making sure that that is happening, will really again bring your confidence through the camera. This was again something that I did struggle with initially when I was on camera. I've got really bad posture, so I feel like my head was always just kind of drooping down, and I'd sort of have it down here and sort of be looking up towards the camera, and I would just look very not confident on camera, like you can see here even with my posture. But if I kind of put my shoulders back as much as I can and then I'm looking into the camera lens and my head is up, it just projects so much more confidence, and it's something to get into the habit of doing from the beginning. Now this next tip is something that I really had to learn how to do, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it now, but initially I was not. And the next tip is to learn to project your voice if you're a bit more of a quieter person. To reiterate here, I was a very quiet person. Before I started this YouTube channel especially, I was the type of person that really struggled even going up and ordering my own coffee. Speaking to anyone in public, I was very quiet. People always had to ask me to repeat myself. It was just who I was, and I feel like that's probably not me anymore. I feel that I have definitely improved with this over time, and there's absolutely nothing wrong, I will say, with being a quiet person. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're speaking on camera, sometimes it can be annoying for the audio to not really pick up your voice as well as you'd like. And it is one thing that I've definitely found has helped with a lot of my YouTube channels. Again, with confidence and with showing that confidence through the screen, learning to project your voice a little bit more and not sort of speaking too inwards or with your head down and kind of softly and meekly and mildly. It's usually better to project it a little bit more if you can, and making sure that your voice is actually being picked up properly by the microphone. Because that was really one thing that was very annoying for me to have to do in the early stages, was editing my audio because my voice was too soft. I would say this is definitely something very important if you are speaking on camera in more of a physical setting. So for example, a couple of years ago, I was flown to Spain with Domestika to do a course with them, and I had to basically be in a room full of people and speaking on camera. I had to essentially read from their script. They were feeding me lines, but I had to be on a real camera and a real set and speaking in front of people, you know, which I'm not actually really used to doing because I'm speaking a lot of the time in my own house, in my own home office with no one here. So it was a very different setting for me. So learning to project your voice in that kind of setting is especially important as well. But again, that confidence does come with time. And for me, going into that setting, even though I wasn't used to it, I think because I had had so many years experience with YouTube and speaking on camera, it felt pretty natural overall. And then the next tip is that your lack of confidence can really show through the camera. So try to evaluate and improve. And what I mean by this is looking back at some of your clips and your footage that you've filmed of yourself and sort of like picking working out some of the things that you can constantly improve. So for example, a lot of people will have different gestures that they do. They might touch their hair a lot or continuously put it behind their ears. You might be one of those people that says and a lot, and that's really, really common. And I've also done some of these things as well. And one thing in particular with me that my partner actually pointed out, because I remember asking him, was there anything that sort of made me not look confident on camera? And one thing he did pick out was that I tended to touch my nose a lot. Like, it was a little bit of a habit that he noticed in some of the videos. And as I sort of started to look at a lot of my videos, I was realizing that, yeah, I was actually touching my nose a lot. It was like just a weird nervousness or nervous energy that I still had in front of the camera that was kind of manifesting into that a lot. And then the last tip here is to speak on camera like nobody's watching, but create your content like everybody's watching. Now, I hope this makes sense in some respect, but I used to find it kind of helpful to think to myself when I was speaking on camera and I was still really nervous. I used to kind of find it helpful to think, no one's watching this. No one's watching this. Be yourself. Don't worry about anyone behind the camera because no one's here. No one's here in the room with you, and you can edit this to how you want to edit it in the end anyway. So I used to find that that was really helpful for me when I was speaking on camera. It kind of pulled the nerves away a little bit more. But in the same token, I didn't want to get myself into the headspace of thinking, oh, no one's watching my videos. What's the point of this? You know, so when I was always thinking about my ideas and creating my content and posting it to YouTube, I posted it in the sense that like I knew people were going to be watching, whether they were or not. I posted it like I was reaching a lot of people, and I created it like I was reaching a lot of people. But when I was speaking on camera, I used to just think to myself, no one's watching, no one's there, you're fine, there's nothing to be nervous about. So I don't know if that tip's going to help a lot of people out there, but I think it's good to think about both sides in that respect. And if you're really, really nervous on camera, sort of reminding yourself that no one's in the room with you, it's only you, and everything's going to be fine in that respect. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video today, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, make sure you do, because I'll be posting a lot more in future. Let me know down in the comment section below what you thought of this video and whether you struggle talking on camera. If you have any specific questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Also, make sure to hit the notification bell if you want more updates from this channel, and definitely let me know in the comments as well if there's anything in particular you would like to see on my YouTube channel. I'm always open to taking requests. But thank you so much as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.